And we're on.
Are we on?
We're on.
We're on.
We're live.
How are you, Josh?
Yeah, great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. We had some food after this. There's a little Italian on the corner. So we didn't actually end up getting home until very late.
Oh, nice. Italian party.
Italian party. How is everybody out there in Webland, in the interwebs? Are you all doing marvellously well? Well, we're big, we're bad, we're back. I'm dressed in black, and Josh is dressed in grey.
Again.
His lady friend is away, so it's probably the same shirt as yesterday. Shh. Everybody knows with me that this is probably a different shirt because they know I have about 47 identical black shirts. So my wardrobe is, black shirt, black shirt, black shirt, black shirt, green, black shirt, black shirt.
Like a Simpsons character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, episode to episode, identically dressed. That's me. If only I could get the hair to look good every single time, rather than the just what it looked like when I woke up this morning look. I suppose that is my look, yeah? My look is the who the heck knows what his look's going to be today hair thing. All right, well, we're big, we're bad, and we're back. We had a lovely time yesterday with the rather wonderful Sophie Sherard. Thank you, Sophie, if you're watching. You were absolutely amazing. And, well, as a quick recap, I don't know if this could be seen on the screen, but my notes, can you see the notes there?
Yeah, we can see them.
Okay, so notes there aren't as extensive as they might be with a lesser-known singer. Basically, what I did was, like, in the first verse, for instance, the notes are take 6 on. The chorus says, all good 0607. And then second verse is like, yeah. Second verse, I remember she was nailing pretty much the whole time. Now, it doesn't mean that with fresh ears, I'm not going to hear things that I want to change, of course. But when we're in the zone, I really felt like we were getting what we needed. So even if we do have to do a little bit of searching for a word or a phrase or two here and there, I feel fairly confident it's going to be in there. And we will only lean on things like auto-tune or waves tune if at all necessary. I'm really going to try not to do that, which is exactly how I do everything anyway. I only use those kinds of trickery, which I have no problem using, by the way, if that's what's necessary, as a last resort, and try to get the best possible performance. And I think they'll always give you the best results. We listened, for instance, to the previous vocal that she did once we started recording yesterday. If you were tuned in yesterday, you heard us do that. And we realised that it was a good vocal, but it was definitely very heavily processed. It sort of was a devoid of a lot of the emotion that she was giving us, because we were giving her direction, and as she attested to at the end, she said that was the most amount of direction she's ever received in a vocal production. And to be honest, I felt like I wasn't giving her that much direction because she was such a great singer. Some people, of course, you're sitting there getting into real minutiae. This was more generalized stuff about phrasing and timing, encouraging. That's the big word, encouraging. For me, when you're producing vocals, the key, I've told this to every student I've ever had, the key is to find what you love about the vocal and ask the singer to do more of that. Rather than doing what every single producer I've ever worked with as an engineer, with the exception of David Foster, who is a brilliant, incredible, life-changing vocal producer, hence why he works with all those incredible singers. Every other one has a tendency, all of them have a tendency to go, oh, the second line was really bad, don't do it like that, which is absolutely no use whatsoever, and is also, I feel like, really low on the totem pole of understanding. We all know when something's not very good. Sometimes the secret is knowing when something is really great, and realizing that's the best it can be, and also sort of understanding that that's the best that you can get out of the singer, and you want to get more of that, like understanding the singer's voice. I often think of Dave Jerden, my dear friend Dave Jerden, our family friend Dave Jerden, who, when I was working with him as an engineer, said to me, anybody can turn a knob on the console. meaning anybody can boost and cut stuff. You can do it. Anybody can open up a DAW and EQ and compress and all that stuff. He goes, the secret is knowing when to stop. So you can twist it, know when to stop. And I feel like that's what it should be like when you're working with a singer. You know, it's sometimes too much direction can be bad. And sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, making them sing unnecessarily is always bad. So, you know, there was one on our first verse, we did do 11 takes. We broke our 10-take rule. And that is not really a hard and fast rule, but it's a reality. If you're focusing in on stuff that's problem, trying to keep it to about 10 takes should be maximum for something like a verse. If you're not getting it, it's either one of two things, that the singer is not able to do what you want them to, or you're not communicating it properly. And you don't need to do all 10 takes to get to that point. You should be able to be 3 or 4 takes in and realize this isn't happening. I've got to try a different approach. So, as I said, just to recap, these notes aren't as extensive as I would have done with lesser singers than Sophie. I think Josh did a wonderful job in finding Sophie for this. So I think it's going to show enough technique in the course itself. And I think, is the QR code up on the screen?
It will be when you screen share.
Okay, we can hit the screen share because we're going to go there. So if you go to the QR code there on the bottom left-hand corner. So in the actual 8-week course on BIM Pro, we work with multiple different singers. And we have a wonderful girl singer called Juno, who's a little bit R&B pop-ish like Sophie, but a different kind of version of that. We have Harry, who's a complete indie singer, not a trained singer at all, and it's all about emotion and feel and zero worry about, you know, perfection. Total indie kind of track. And then the last song was really like kind of more of a classic rock thing. So we got kind of a pop, an indie pop, and a rock thing. So it kind of crosses lots of genres, 3 different singers that we worked with. And you'll see some people, I go in there and I do word by word stuff. Other stuff, I let them just have full takes or bigger chunks. And really with that, and of course, you know, the free webinar here, I think you're really going to learn a lot about vocal production. And it will help you to understand that there is no one way to do anything and that every singer demands that you work with them in a different way. But I will say, if there's one thing that you remember, flicking back from 5 minutes ago, always find what you like about the vocal and encourage them to do more of that. And I've said that since day one, you know, from starting YouTube even. And I still don't hear it enough back. I'm used to people taking my ideas and remaking YouTube videos of them 5 years later, but that one hasn't been talked about enough. I think that I think vocal production is a very, very maligned subject. I think rock guys, and I've worked with some of the biggest producers in the world, just have a tendency to do multiple takes and then figure it out later. And sometimes that works. Pop guys can do a combination of that with a lot of really heavy editing. And then the great producers like the David Fosters I've worked with are lyric sheets, focusing on what they love, going back and only working on the things that need to be worked on. They don't blow out the singer's voice. And the great thing is, when I worked with David Foster, for instance, it was actually with Disturbed, who are like a rock, like a metal band.
Yeah, proper heavy.
Yeah, so there you go. And it was exciting to see a classic, you know, old school, if that's the right word, producer who's worked with orchestras and, you know, is a jazz and classically trained piano player, be able to get the best out of a rock singer. And I think, to be honest, he got more out of David from Disturbed than the rest of the album that was done by somebody else. That vocal is like the best vocal on the record. So just goes to show, you know, this kind of technique and detail that you're learning here will definitely put you one step above what 99% of vocal, you know, production is doing. It is a little bit more painstaking, and you do have to use your ear, and you have to get in there and communicate well with the artist. And then, of course, when it comes to the comping, which we're about to start in a couple of minutes, it will deserve a little bit more time. It's not just about, like, you know, putting it into Melodyne and then clipping it all to a grid so it's all perfectly in time, and then just going beep, 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 which is how the majority of pop vocals sound these days. We are going to have to get a little bit, you know, listen a bit more. But it's going to be fun. All right. That was my big introduction. How are you, Josh?
Yeah, good. I think it's just worth saying that these webinars we're doing now only like 2.5 hours kind of long, but in the course that we're be talking about, the BIM Pro Cert course, we go into a lot more detail, don't we?
We go in a lot more detail. Well, because we did 3 different singers as well.
Yeah.
There's 3 different singers, and there's a lot of like coursework and things to do as well. Like I said, the whole idea of BIM and Produce Like a Pro doing this together was to bring the 2 different worlds. You've got the traditional university education, of which, let's be honest, BIM is a leader in, because BIM isn't like a staid, old school, sit there with your clipboard kind of stuff. So it's definitely ahead of the curve when it comes to universities. So it's already a leader in that field, number one. And then, of course, Produce Like a Pro, we have the blessing of being probably the biggest, YouTube and online kind of courses. So bringing the 2 things together and doing something which is a combination of best of both worlds is really, it's like a dream come true. And this first part, this vocal part here, is just the beginning of multiple things. So by the end of a full course, you'll learn how to record pretty much any instrument you can imagine and mix and master it, produce it, record it, mix, master it, and there will be lots and lots of things to learn. Okay, well, I say let's get started. Now, my notes here says take 6 on. So why don't we, just for the heck of it, go to take 6? And this is of the first verse. I don't have the chat up, so I can't see. What's the chatter saying at the moment?
Nothing at the moment.
Well, first of all,
everyone's just saying hi from wherever they are in the world. We've got
I was about to say,
Atlanta.
where are you all from? Tell us where you're from.
Oh, so many places.
Tell me.
St. Louis, Detroit, Baltimore, Switzerland, Mexico, Arizona, Poland, Belgium, Chile.
We're in Poland. My wife's on a plane to Poland as we speak.
Amsterdam, Denmark, Slovakia, Canada, Venezuela, Jerusalem, Romania, France.
Beautiful.
Sweden, Atlanta, Spain. They're coming in so fast I can't hardly read them.
Lovely.
Kentucky, Birmingham.
Which Birmingham?
True.
Birmingham City
or Birmingham
or Birmingham,
UK or
Alabama.
Yeah. Morecambe.
Morecambe. Yay for Morecambe.
Madrid, Kenya, LA.
We're in LA. Who's in LA? Who's in LA?
Ed Hall.
Hey, Ed Hall.
We've got London.
We're in London.
Represent. Rico's in London.
Hey, Rico. Rico.
Ukraine, Kiev.
Hey, hello to you in the Ukraine.
Burbank. Camarillo.
Nice.
Boston. Toronto, Virginia. Berlin. They just keep coming.
Love Berlin.
Portland.
Going to be in Berlin in a few weeks. For those that are interested, we're doing a masterclass. Haven't advertised yet. We're doing a masterclass at Hansa Studios. Maybe you should come, Josh.
Oh, I'll be there. 100%.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. So it's a masterclass at Hansa Studios with the great, the one and only. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow morning if you're watching, Moses Schneider. That masterclass will sell quicker than Quick Things on a National Quick Day.
Yeah, Moses is the best with the versed mic. Right, he does
with his whole drum miking
amazing.
And the way he mixes his drum sounds are just like unfreaking believable.
Super creative, super cool.
So it's going to be a week of recording. First of all, we're going to record and do a drum samples with him and produce like loops and drum. So that's going to be amazing. So it's going to be all about the drum sounds, number one. And then secondly, going to bring in a band from Berlin and record a song. So you're going to watch him engineer and produce. And I'm going to be there, and it's going to be so much fun. Yes. And it's in Berlin. If anybody hasn't been to Berlin, go.
Yeah.
I love it. Italy and Greece are like my favorite countries in general. Been to Italy multiple times. In fact, this year alone we've been twice. Been to Sicily and Venice this year alone. And Greece, my family has a house in Greece. Amazing. But Germany, I love, and Berlin is just
special.
Yeah, it's a music city.
Yeah.
It's because, without going on too much of a tangent, which of course I am doing, I'm famous for it. I mean, we were talking the other day, just off camera, we were talking about a band that Josh is working with at the moment. He was sort of saying was like a darker New Order. So of course I went, you mean Joy Division? Because of course Joy Division are the same band, came first. The singer died. So I was making that joke. But when you go back to New Order and Joy Division, you're basically talking about disco and what we call Krautrock, which is all German synth pop music. Mm-hmm. And so when you go to Berlin, it's just in the air. You can be in an apartment building and walk like through a corridor and hear coming out of every room.
Yeah.
Like everybody does dance music there.
Up till 7 a.m. in the morning as well.
And it's so good. And the food in Berlin, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Italy. Like, my father was a painter and a sculptor, so it was in our blood to love everything Italian. Everything. All the art, the architecture. But I'll tell you, the best Italian food I ever had was in Berlin.
Wow.
There's a restaurant there. Berliners know this. There's a restaurant there, and I swear blind, it's an Italian chef. Unbelievable food. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm a big fan. All right, so here we go. We're going to listen to take 06. If anybody made notes from last night, I should have encouraged you to do that, shouldn't I? All right, here we go. Don't forget, if you want to sign up for BIM Pro, the sign-up dates finish next Wednesday. So you have to sign up between now and next Wednesday. And the QR code in the corner will take you to the right place. Here we go.
Now and then I try to make it different.
Give us a bit more pre-roll.
Now and then I try to make it different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave ya, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
There's some really tasty stuff. Now, when I'm comping, there is no one way to do it. But quite often, when I've got a really good singer like this, what I might do, well, first of all, is I'll create a new playlist, and I can call it comp, obviously, like this. And that, and then what we can do is we can lay out, go into playlist mode.
I'm just going to rebalance the feed, if that's all right, Warren.
Of course, whatever you need to do.
Can we just... I just want a little bit more track.
Yeah, the track was a little bit low on playback. I didn't notice that when I uploaded it onto YouTube today. Oh, by the way, everybody, you should have an email that came earlier today with a link to yesterday's video on YouTube. So check that out. We're balancing the balancing.
Yeah. Let's try 20.
Sure.
On there. Relative. Let's bring you down a touch here.
Am I too quiet now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, play a bit of the track. Hopefully this is better for everybody.
Different. Always find myself trying to fix.
How's that? How's that balance now?
Waiting for
Is that betterer?
Now and then.
Getting the thumbs up.
Chris says it's better.
It's better. Okay, good.
Thanks,
Good,
Chris.
good. So, what I did, and this is only for Pro Tools people, I know you've probably, some of you, 30% of you probably use Pro Tools, and then the other 70 use various other ones. And I love Pro Tools. It's the DAW I grew up on. I'm not going to die on a hill for it. It's just the one I know really, really well, and I'm very happy with it. It's really good for audio editing. But whatever your DAW is, will do the job. So, with your DAW, the way we do it here is I create a blank, like comp take here, and then I will take a section. Let's just say I liked this piece here. I'll highlight it, and then you see this little up button here. I'll hit it, and it goes up, and it's in my comp. Now, the reason why I mention this is that quite often when I'm working with a really, really great singer like this, I might, rather than going line by line, because this is going to be different for every single singer, but with Sophie, what I might do is start on 06 and then listen down, and when I love something, just put it up. So, and before you know it, I'm looking for certain things, and then if I love something, I'll compare it. This is what I mean. So I'm going to sort of speed comp for a second. But before I speed comp, I'm going to pause because I did make a note, if everybody remembers, of 02, the second line. Do you remember earlier when we were doing this? I really loved 02 on the second line. Let's just see what that was and see if it's something that we already beat. So second line, here we go. First line.
Now and then I try to make it different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Always find myself trying to fix him.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like that. I think we can beat it. I think we did.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
And I'm going to bring the vocal up ever so slightly, just so it sits up, so I don't feel the need to use a compressor. Because in the back of my mind, I keep thinking I might put an R comp on that, and I still might, but start it on. Okay, so this is kind of my speed comp when I know the singer is delivering. So watch what I do. I am literally going to just listen down like this.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause
I like that change him. So here we go.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions.
I really like that. The descript is a little, but those parts are amazing.
Descriptions. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
So,
Trying to paint that picture. Trying to paint that picture.
it's interesting. I'm already back in the song. And I remember, I don't know if you remember from yesterday if you were watching it, and if you haven't, like I said, you'll have an email with a link to yesterday's one. This line,
Wasted just trying to paint that.
it's not bad.
Wasted just trying to.
It's actually not bad. But the wasted and the triner was having pitch issues quite often.
Wasted just trying to paint that picture.
Not bad. So, moments that I loved just from that take is a lot. And like I said, I don't always work like this. When I'm working with a singer that I'm having a lot of issues with, I'm going to be listening line by line by line by line. But because here there's a lot of stuff I love, I am just going by gut and going, I love that, I love that. Oh, and then if it looks like I'm going to have to be competing with something I've already chosen, we'll do a quick comparison shop.
Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him.
See, that already is pretty tasty, that second line.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
And then let's go to 6.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
6 again.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
7.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
Yeah, I think 7's better. It's more conversational, isn't it? Listen to it one more time.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
This is only the second line of the song, so I want to be eased in. And when she's a bit more conversational like that, I'm like, oh, that's nice. Okay, we'll keep listening.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
That is really, really nice. Again, the change has got a lot of vibrato.
Change him.
Comparing what we chose.
Change him.
Both have.
Change him.
I do like the hymn a little bit more on 7. Okay, keep listening.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than missing his description.
That's nice.
Nothing's worse than missing his description.
What we had before.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than missing his description.
So I'm gonna be picky here. So I like this from 7.
Nothing's worse than missing his. Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions.
I like this.
Descriptions.
But I love this middle bit here.
Missing his descriptions.
I like the attack of that. So if we keep that from 6, so it's a little bit of a tweaky comp, but we can clean it up afterwards and take that and that. Okay. All right. Keep listening.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
See what we had in 6.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
I think 7's beating the first of those 2 lines. What do you guys think?
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
I really like that wasted. The way she says wasted there, it's got so much personality. All right. Let's go to 8. We still haven't got a first line out of the first 2 we've listened to, so now we're on 8.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
I'm not sure if it bothers me, that timing, or not.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
She lays back that can't create a.
Lost cause I can't create a fake.
It's kind of nice. You hear she's a little bit late on that. Just cause I can't create a thing. I remember we talked about that. If you watch yesterday's video, you'll know that I said, can you lay that can't back? And she did. Right. I think I'm going to choose that take so far. We haven't found anything else we love, so it's a great starting place. Let's keep going.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse.
See, she does that missing and hits it hard there. So the question is this full take better than the comp we created? Here's the comp we created of that line.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions.
Which is really tasty. The disc of the descriptions is a little vibrato-y. Let's hear what 8 does.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions.
Again.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions.
Our comp.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions.
I think I like our comp better, but it's close. All right, let's see what this next line does.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
That's nice. That's the first one where the thing is committed. Do you remember on the thing? She was having this problem. We were saying to her, what is the note that you're trying to get fitting? And she was sort of vibratoing around it. And when I asked her what she was singing, she's like, oh, I don't know. And that was great because that allowed her to think about what she was doing. I don't know if that's going to be the best one yet, but it's the best one overall, but it's the best one yet. All right, let's keep listening to the last 2 lines.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
That's really good. Let's have a look at what we've got in the comp.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
8.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
I really like the wasted on the comp, and I like bits of this first line. So back to the 8 again, having a listen.
Every last minute that I gave you.
Comp.
Every last minute that I gave you.
See, I feel like this from 8 is going to beat what's in the comp. So now here's our new comp with that bit from 8.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
Let's have a listen to that, trying to paint our picture. The wasted's perfect on the comp.
Wasted just trying to paint that picture. Paint that picture.
Comp.
Paint that picture. Paint that picture.
And 8.
Paint that picture.
Tough one.
Wasted just trying to paint that picture.
Comp.
Wasted just trying to paint that picture.
It's a little lackadaisical on this, and I have to decide. I feel like that might be a better way of going.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
Okay, I'm going to throw in just Trina from 8 into the comp and see whether that is an improvement or I'm taking it back.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
I think with the smooth out, that's better. I haven't put any fades in. Okay, we still don't have the first line, and we're moving on to 09.
Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different. Always find.
I'm going to put that up because it's the best thus far.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who. Always find myself trying to fix him. Always find myself trying to fix him.
Comp.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
Oh no, the comp's just great there. It's just personal, sucks you in.
Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
That's nice. Comp.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
9.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
Is this better?
thinks that she can change him.
Thinks that she can.
Thinks that she can change him.
It's more announced in the comp.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
Let's just experiment and throw that in from 9 and now listen to the comp.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
It's not bad. Not bad at all. I hate this tool. Okay. You know that repeat tool on the trim? They put that in there. If anybody is a Pro Tools person, they put that in for film guys because they requested it. It's like the bane of my existence. Okay. Oh, that's the same take. All right, let's have a listen. This is the comp in that area.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost.
There's a little breath issue there. Let's go do a little bit of cleanup. Now on this difference, let's see if we got a stronger.
Always find myself trying to fix.
So this is the comp thus far, and we only got up to 09, so we still have 2 more takes that we haven't even listened to.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture. Why?
Not 3 bad, as I say, and that's 1 better than not too bad. What's everybody's feeling so far?
Someone just said
Yes.
that they've noticed that a lot of the takes are coming from the middle, so they wondered if maybe they weren't warmed up at the beginning, and then maybe they were a bit tired at the end. Because generally speaking, you're comping from mostly the middle area.
Don't think so. I think we started taking. I mean, we've got 9, 7, 9, 8.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely towards the end,
6.
actually, isn't it?
I think it's evenly stretched from 6, 7, 8, 9, and we just haven't got to 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think she was tired. This was maybe they didn't watch yesterday. So this was the first thing we sung. So this whole piece here is like she was in there for like nearly 2 hours, but she didn't sing for 2 hours. We did a lot of talking, or I did a lot of talking, should we say? So it's 23 seconds. That section. No, it's not even 23 seconds. We're monitoring in. It is. Yeah, it's 25 seconds, and she sang it 10 times, so 250 seconds. So she sang for 5 minutes. So it's only 5 minutes of singing. So she's not going to be tired. That's like singing a song down like 1.5 times or something like that. Now you might be able to argue that by the end of the song when we were singing like the last chorus or the last pre-chorus. But we did really. If you watch yesterday's video, we went very, very carefully not to blow out her voice. So at the moment, 6, 7, 8, 9, we haven't listened to 10 or 11. That's why we don't have anything chosen from there yet. But like for instance, we did quite a lot from like that's 9, that's 9, that's 8, that's 8, that's 7, that's 7, and that's 6. 6 actually ended up putting a lot up. We've only kept 1, 2, 3 little bits. So if anything, we're favouring the more she's going into it. But that's comping. We might go back and change some stuff out. But anyway, listening to 10 now.
Now and then I try to make things different.
Listen to the comp.
Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different. To make things different. To make things different. To make things different.
That's the thing I'm having a timing issue with in our comp. This section here. This is not the comp. This is 10.
Now and then I try to make things different.
Go back to 9.
Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different. Now and then I try to make things different.
The trying to make, I love the timing on that. Difference isn't working on the first line. So that's just for schnitz and schniggles. This is now a comp taking 7, put into 9.
Now and then I try to make things different.
That timing-wise and feel-wise works much better for me. You see what I'm going for? It's like so sometimes, you know, I just want to keep the timing good. I don't want to keep the feel good. So if she's pushing and pulling that timing, it's the same thing. But I also want it to be a little kind of conversational, not too sung. I don't want it to be like, now and then I try to make a difference. I don't want it to be like power pop, you know. We're easing ourselves into this song. Okay, let's go from the first line on back to 10.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him.
That's a really nice always find myself. Let's see what we got in the comp.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
That's beautiful too. Back to 10.
Always find myself trying to fix him. Always find myself.
I do like that kind of softness though.
Always find myself trying.
Always find my.
Always find myself.
She's doing it there as well, which is better.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
Back to 10.
Always find myself trying to fix him.
I don't know. I think 10 wins. They're both the same kind of thing, which is why I like the one that's up there. But I think this one is better. I think this one's better. All right, go listen to the comp.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's really good. Yeah. All right, cool. We're doing it. See what we're doing? Something that we liked in that take 07 is better in the take 10. But you know, if we didn't have take 10, I still would have loved take 7. But it's fantastic. You know, we were encouraging her as she went on through the takes. Once we got the sort of solid takes and she was getting the timing right. You again watch yesterday's video, you'll notice we were sort of encouraging her to start to put some more personalities into it, and that's what she gave us there on that second line, the first part of it. Just a little bit kind of more playful and fun, and frankly just more interesting to listen to.
Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
Okay, let's listen to that line in the comp.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
That's just brilliant. The bend that she does, come the one and him. Listen to the bend she does in the comp.
Become the one who thinks
one. That's what they used to say 20 years ago. That's money.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
Yeah, the little hem on the end of there and the one. Yeah. Don't touch that with auto-tune, kids.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
There's bits of that are nice on 10.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
Listen to the comp.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
I like the way she hits the melody on the comp best.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
Create a fake him. That is just great. The question is this little piece here better on 10? Back to the comp.
Lost cause I can't create a fake.
The loss, can't create him.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Lost cause I can't create.
I'm going to risk it. I'm going to take this little bit of 10 and dump it into our comp, just because I love the personality on that, and then cut back to the part that's in the comp. Right, listening. This is the comp.
Change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
Fake, maybe.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
A little trill in the fake. Let's go back to 10.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
That's almost spoken, isn't it?
Fake him. Fake him. Fake him. Fake him. Fake him.
That's 9. And we're using 8 in the comp. Listen.
Fake him. Not fake him.
I mean, I'm being really, really, really splitting hairs. 9.
Fake him. Fake him.
Comp again.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
No, I'm totally splitting hairs. It's brilliant. It's in there. Okay, 10. Keeping listening on.
Nothing's worth I'm missing his descriptions. Nothing's worth I'm missing his descriptions.
It's great. Comp.
Nothing's worth I'm missing his description. Nothing's worth I'm missing his.
think maybe that Nothing's Worse has actually now been beaten by 10. Dumping it in. Here's the comp.
Nothing's worse than missing his description.
Yep. That's amazing. It's great. Now, some people absolutely... I remember watching, somebody's YouTube video, I don't know, a year or two ago, and maybe it was more recent than that, and they said comping vocals is like putting what do they say, like an ice pick through your eye. I'm like, what? Comping vocals is like, it's the best thing. I mean, the stuff that everybody hates, I love. I think it's probably my ADD or something.
Sure.
Like when I get in there and have to edit something and make it, like do a lot of work to make it do almost nothing. Like just spend the time and listening to things and taking little pieces of phrases and go, oh, that's great. I love the way that combines with that. Getting into that mindset rather than just going, oh, comping vocals, Melodyne, time it all up, tune it, make it. You know what I mean? This, to me, is so rewarding.
Yeah.
I can get lost in this for absolutely hours.
It's nice to see the marginal gain as well, where you get a good vocal and then you turn it into something that's just incredible.
Yeah, and it's
as
all
well.
what she did.
Yeah, exactly. It's still her.
That's still her. It's just taking all of the things with tons of personality and going, oh, I like that personality, I like that personality, and then just putting it together. Yeah. I mean, the reality is when I first started making records, it was the way everybody made records in the 90s, up until then, really, from late 60s when we moved into 8, and then early 70s, 16 track, and then 24 almost immediately after that. You used to have 3 takes left, and you did 3 takes of vocals, and then you had a spare channel, and we just used to use mutes. And so we'd take this is why I learnt this, and I just would go, oh, like this word here, this line here, and mark it, take 1, take 3, or whatever. You plonk the lyric sheet down, you get your mutes, and you would just literally mute, unmute, mute, unmute, mute, unmute, and then bounce all of that to another track.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have what you needed, you still had those 3 takes to go in and sing some more. And most of the time, you'd get it from just 3 takes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'd have to go in and do it 2 or 3 times more. But often what would happen with just those 3 takes is you'd make a pretty good comp, about 3/4 of the way there. And then now you're able to work with the singer a bit more and go, okay, we got most of it, but we need this line, we need to re-sing this chorus, and we need to do that. So to me, this is just an extension of that process.
Yeah.
Where my brain's in that sort of focus mode of like, make it happen. And for some people, I don't know if this is something that doesn't interest somebody. I don't know if this is the right thing for you. To me, it's like, this is what I love and why people say, oh, Freddie Mercury's vocal is incredible. Because, they did a version of this. Okay, probably with 3 takes only. And then they were comping that, and then maybe they got him to re-sing. But they would have it's the detail work, as opposed to the, fix it in the mix kind of mentality, as it were. All right. So, I don't know. Anybody saying that it's like putting a pickaxe through their head or something?
No, everyone's saying they love the surgery-like focus when comping, Ron says.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, that's probably why you're all here. Not probably. It's definitely why you're all here.
Everyone's saying they love it.
Okay, great.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions.
That is a great take on 10. Let's make sure we beat it.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than missing his description.
Just a descript. It's just a little vibrato on the comp.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions.
I could be splitting hairs, but you remember that was bothering me when we were singing.
Descriptions.
That's 10. Here's 9.
Descriptions.
So that works, but it's brought down a lot.
Descriptions.
Now 8.
Descriptions.
It's a little thin for me. That's 8 is 7.
Descriptions.
7 is 6.
Descriptions.
Too much.
Description.
Too much.
Description.
Far too much.
Description.
Even more.
Descriptions. Descriptions. Nothing. Descriptions. Description.
That's that 2, and I like those shuns.
Shuns. Shuns. Shuns. Shuns.
I like the way she goes over the note in a beautiful way on 7, though. Okay, here's 1.
Listen his description.
Far too fast, no vibrato.
Listen his description.
Okay, so back to 9.
Listen his description.
Nope, too vibrato-y.
Listen his description.
And 10.
Listen his description.
10's too vibrato-y. 7, which we're using.
Listen his descriptions. Listen his descriptions.
Yep, I think we might have it. We'll just wait till we get to 11. Like I said, I could be splitting hairs, and I probably was.
Descriptions. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
Listen to what we have.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
10.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
I think wrong thing might just be beating what we have.
Wrong thing.
It's 10. Here's the comp.
Wrong thing. Wrong thing.
Let's throw 10 in just for schnitz and schniggles and see how it feels.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
It's really good.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
Yeah, actually, as a complete thing, I think the timing, she's pushing that first line. This first here.
Falling for the wrong thing.
I like that, though. Falling from it. It adds a little sense of urgency, but I like keeping the more laid back part of the previous take. Okay, great. All right, this is wonderful fun. Moving on.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to obtain that picture.
And again, listening.
Every last minute that I gave you, wait.
So it's an interesting
That I gave.
that I really like. Let's see what we got on the comp.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
That's the comp. That's pretty amazing.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
10.
Every last minute that I gave you.
The timing is really good on that, though. It's really good on the complete take, you know? Sometimes you just have to admit that you might do detail on comps. It might just be beaten by just one clean.
Every last minute.
That's just... That's just like so singy-songy. Sing-alongy.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to obtain that picture.
There's the comp.
Every last minute that I gave you.
Oh, it's like whether you want one that lilts, does this, or one that hits, but the comp hits.
Every last minute that I gave you.
But the beginning, I think, on 10 is so swinging. It's like Ringo on the Hat, you know.
Every last minute that I gave you.
So the first thing I'm going to do is just try the first part of that and fire it up. And then if it's not like a massive difference and, oh my God, that's amazing, then I might put the whole thing up there.
Every last minute that I gave you, wasted.
Okay. Whole thing.
Falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture. They're just trying to paint that picture.
What you do here?
They're just trying to paint that picture.
Try to take my picture or paint my picture. She's saying take, the other one says she's saying paint. Was yeah, paint. Okay.
They're just trying to paint that picture.
I think she's saying taint. Trying to taint a picture. So it sounds like take and taint and paint. All right, here's the comp.
They're just trying to paint that picture. They're just trying to paint that picture.
10.
They're just trying to paint that picture. They're just trying to paint that picture. That picture. That picture. That picture. That picture.
Right. I love what we're doing. Okay. 11. Last but no means least.
Now and then I try to make things different. Oh. Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him.
Listen to the comp there.
Always find myself trying to fix him. Always find myself trying to fix him.
11.
Always find myself trying to fix him. Trying to fix him. Trying to fix him. Trying to fix him. Trying to fix him.
There's definitely a more laid back approach on 11.
Trying to fix him.
But I also the phrasing's great. The the way she's pulling back.
Trying to fix him.
Comp.
Trying to fix him.
I think if it's just the.
Trying to.
I just take that trying to fix. I might be super happy. It might be the perfect combo platter. When you hang out with me enough, you realise I say the same things. Combo platter. You know this. I have these things. We'll do another one for the kids.
Yeah.
I'll say things are different. I'll be like mo ichido, you know, for anybody that speaks Japanese, or onomos, you know.
Now I'm
Because otherwise you're like, one more please, another one please, one more please. After a while,
Yeah,
you know,
you
you're
just
just trying to
gotta
find
find
different
new
ways of
ways.
saying it. All right, here we go. I'm going to listen to the comp up to that thing and make sure that we are super happy.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
I mean, that's just brilliant. Okay, she's great. Okay, third line.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
I do like the entrance of that line.
Become the one who thinks that she.
Goes well with the bass. Ba-ba-ba-dum. Like, listen to the bass.
Become the one who thinks that she.
The way the marriage between the vocal and the bass there is fantastic.
Become the one who thinks that she.
Let's hear what it sounds like in the comp.
Become the one who thinks that she. Become the one who thinks that she.
I mean, it's in 7, it's a bit more dominant
Become the one who.
in the vocal.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Become the one who thinks that she can change. Become the one who thinks that she can.
But I hate the thinks that, not hate, sorry. I don't like the, so I'm just going to try and experiment, just put that bit in. Okay, so here's the comp with just that bit added.
Him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
That in the vocal is not the end of the world. Let's see what it sounds like if I pull it over from the other take.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
There you go. So all I did was pull over the beginning of that phrase because she. Now I could probably gain that down afterwards, but because it was not, you know, that part of the vocal didn't have any pitch, I didn't see any reason to sit there and do surgery on something that's not going to have a pitch issue, not going to change our pitch. Okay, so listening on.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
That's good.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
The comp.
Lost cause I can't create a fake. Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
This bit I prefer on 11. Definitely getting surgical. Okay, listening to the comp.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
Do I like that pushed fake?
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
Kind of like the way it does it with the kick, because the kick is that, you know, that Questlove meets, you know, just the way that it's out of time, but in a cool way.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
It's, yeah, I like this. I like the moment. Let's just see what happens if we pull in her other one.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing.
I think I prefer that. There you go.
Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing.
Okay. All right. So, sorry. 11. Here we go.
Nothing's worth missing his descriptions.
So well sung.
Nothing's worth missing his descriptions.
11's been great.
Nothing's worth missing his descriptions. No.
But I like what we've got going on in the comp, because now it's starting to feel like it's growing.
Nothing's worth missing his descriptions. No.
And I think we went through all the descriptions. We'll see if this one's less, you know, descript.
Nothing's worth missing his descriptions. Nothing.
Is that better?
Nothing's.
Comp.
Nothing's.
No, I love the way it hits the note on the comp.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
Comp.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
You take.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
It's nicely laid back, isn't it? See what she said the comp again.
Nothing's worse than falling for.
Nothing's worse.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
11.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
No, I think I like the entrance on the falling. The only thing I'd like to hear is whether the nothing's worse would work from 11.
Egyptians, nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
Again,
Egyptians, nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
taking that out.
Nothing's worse than Egyptians, nothing's worse than falling for the
I think all I'm hearing is slight pitch difference.
Egyptians, nothing's worse than falling for the wrong Egyptians, nothing's worse than falling for the wrong.
She's slightly more laid back on that.
Nothing's worse than falling for the. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
Now, if some of this seems like magic to you, and like, oh, Warren's like making these subtle choices, that's because I'm in it and I'm doing it. For you, you're standing back and you probably are hearing lots of huge things. But I'm just telling you, when you're in it and you are moving between stuff, your ear just gets tuned in. And honestly, just the more comping you do, the more listening you do, the better.
Falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave, yeah, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
That's pretty amazing. See the comp?
Falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave, yeah, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
Listen to 11 again.
Falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave, yeah, wasted just trying to paint that picture.
There's an ease to that. Let's hear the comp.
Falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave, yeah, wasted just trying to paint that picture. Every last minute that I gave, yeah, wasted just trying to paint that picture. Every last minute that I gave, yeah, wasted just trying to paint that picture. 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 Paint that picture. Paint that picture. Paint that picture.
It's tough. I like both of them for different reasons. And to me, what we've chosen is a little bit more on and aggressive by 2%. And there's an ease to the 11.
Wasted just trying to paint that picture.
Here's 11.
Wasted just trying to paint that picture.
I'm so on the fence on this. They're both amazing. I think I had the same existential crisis on take 10.
Wasted just trying to paint that picture.
And here's the comp.
Wasted just trying to paint that picture.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at the moment and know that if it bothers me and it's more laid back, I could go to 11. So I might just make that little note. So paint that picture. Wasted, just trying to put picture. I'll go laid back. 10, 11. Okay, just some notes to myself that when we come and we're listening back down and going, oh, that's jumping out. Wish it was laid back more. We know. At the moment, I'm enjoying the idea of it pushing into it ever so slightly. And yes, it's subtle. Any notes from anybody?
So people saying that that they use Melodyne.
Sure.
They asked whether it was the 102 or the 103, and it was the 103. People are talking about the diction, and they're wondering that sometimes it's hard to understand what she's saying. And I put, she kind of has that kind of like lazy, jazzy tone.
Yeah.
And someone else said that compression might improve that.
Yeah, I think compression will. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to finish this comp up, and I might sort of speed through the comp even quicker now, and maybe a little less explanation, and just kind of move for it super, super quick. Just because I want to make sure we get it done. And then when we come to sort of like mixing, we may well be doing this additional like editing. What I mean by that, I can show you really, really quickly. So here's our comp thus far. Let's have a listen.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him.
Okay, so I am going to duplicate this comp. And I'm going to call it comp edit, believe it or not. Okay, so have a listen.
Now and then I try to make things different.
Okay, so here we're losing it. So what I would do is I would come in like this, and I would gain. This froze up. So the same way I would use compression, but I'm actually individually gaining it.
I try to make things different. I try to make things different. I try to make things different. I try to make things different.
Probably put a fatter fade on that so there's not such a big leap.
I try to make things different. I try to make things different. I try to make things different. I try to make things different.
Always got to get it so it just feels better.
Try to make things different.
There it is.
And I try to make things different.
Get in here. So this is essentially what you're talking about, but I'm doing it with gain. The reason why I do it with gain, you're probably, why don't you just wait for the compressor? Well, because if I do it with the compressor, I've got to set the compression. Sometimes it's going to choke the loud phrases, and then the quiet phrases which are coming in and barely touching it. So I'm going to have this choking sound going on. So if I sit there and I gain it so that it's even and hitting it the same, close enough, the compressor's doing less work and it will be far more forward and won't sound choked.
Now and then I try to make things different.
Like the diff can come up. So this is the kind of detail editing I do. And I've been teaching this for a while, and I know that this has been adopted, quite heavily by other people now.
Try to make things different. Always.
Now, I want to go to the end of this difference, for instance, and just go nuts and see what I can find.
Always find different. Always find myself different. Always find myself.
So I just want to get. She's never really says difference, but I wanted to get the end of that phrase. So let's see what we've got in the track.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix. Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix it. Always find myself trying to fix it. Always find myself trying to.
Some nice stuff going on there. So you'll notice when I gain stuff up, I'm deliberately leaving S's and T's and breaths. I don't need to gain those up. All it's going to end up doing is de-essing them to remove them again. So I'm just taking the things between the phrases. So here, you'll see there's quite a lot of this that I want to bring up. Now this is real heavy detail stuff. But if you're going to go into a compression chain now, we'll hardly have to do anything to it.
Always find myself trying to fix.
A little bit too much.
Always find myself trying to fix it.
And we go into a lot more detail on this stuff in the course as well. And I know there's quite a few people of adopting this in other people. Yeah, I'm sure you know what I mean.
Always find myself trying to fix it.
The person that, I don't know, I don't really know who I learned this from. I think I just did it on my own, but I know people that do this. Quite a few well-known mixers will go in there and do this kind of detail. Mark Endert's big on this. Mark's great about detail work on vocals.
Self trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Always find myself trying to fix him.
This is why you have to love doing vocals. Not for the faint of heart, the kind of detail work.
Self trying to fix him.
Oh, I like that.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him.
Fix is nice and aggressive now, but probably a little bit too much.
Trying to fix him. Trying to fix him.
As you can see, I'm missing out the breaths.
Trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she.
Become the one. But again, as Josh was saying, there is a certain part of Sophie's voice that is, you know, not about, you know, there's a sort of slurring, a jazzy kind of thing. I actually really enjoyed it. And to be honest, I sort of encouraged it because I felt like that gave her a very unique voice.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Love.
Detail, detail. It really does help. Is this all making sense? Do people have questions? Do they think I'm crazy?
It's all making sense. Everyone's saying they like to reduce breaths sometimes by a few dB, 15 dB.
Yep.
But not cut them out because it can just sound a bit weird.
Terrible, yeah. But I'm actually not reducing breaths. I'm doing the opposite. I'm actually
you're enhancing
enhancing
and things.
Words that are kind of getting a little bit lost.
Yeah.
Like, you know, somebody was saying.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Become the one who thinks that she can change.
And I'm listening and going, that's a little bit too much, and I'm bringing it down.
One who thinks that she can change him. One who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create it.
Now, what we'll do is we'll do a little schnitz and schniggles here. And what I'm probably going to do is go verse through chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, rather than do the whole song, because we will not finish the whole song in another hour. But, of course, everything that's a principle here will be used across the whole song. Okay.
Become the one who thinks that she can change him.
Glad everybody doesn't think I'm insane.
No, everyone's on board.
Good.
One person says they do think you're crazy, but they appreciate it.
Okay. Well, the best example I can think of is all the vocal stuff. I did quite a lot of this on How to Save a Life on the vocal at the beginning. But I think Enough for Now by The Fray, the vocals, really detailed stuff like that. Trevor Hall's record, Chapter of the Forest. Augustana's second album, Can't Hurt, Can't Love. Can't Love, Can't Hurt, sorry. Has a ton of detailed stuff on it. Those are the records that you really kind of hear. I think the Trevor Hall one, you hear an insane amount of detail work going into it because you never hear the compressor choking it or grabbing it. And Chapter of the Forest is what I'm probably most proud of because the vocals like there's a ball in front, which is what you sort of want, or what I want anyways. I want it to feel like it's sitting here between the speakers. And it's just such a wonderful, wonderful sounding record. And I was blessed because I got to produce it, engineer it, and mix it. So I sort of maintained how I wanted it to sound the whole time. Sometimes when you give stuff away to mix, the mixer may not have your vision. And sometimes that's not good. And sometimes you're like, oh, wow, I can't believe they did that. I would never have thought of that, and now it's better. So, there's pluses and minuses to everything.
Someone's asked, would you use Vocal Rider for gaining?
No, I do use Vocal Rider in my chain often. But I would much rather do things that are semi-permanent because obviously we duplicated this track. Things that are, because when I say semi-permanent, we can always go back to the one that's not done.
Lost cause I can't create a fake.
But Vocal Rider, I've used that in the past, and if you watch my my video from a billion years ago, one of the first videos I ever did was talking about mixing vocals. I did use Vocal Rider.
Lost 'cause I can't create.
It was a tough one because she's up on the mic when she sings, so I get a little bit of going on.
She can change him. Lost 'cause I can't create.
I do like Vocal Rider. Don't get me wrong. I've found it to be really, really useful.
Lost 'cause I can't create. Lost 'cause I can't. Lost 'cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than.
But I'm very tempted to just say, do this and then stick a Arvox on it. Which is still one of my favorite compressors.
Create a fake him.
And it may well just sound almost like a record straight off.
Create a fake him. Nothing's worse. Lost 'cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions.
So talking of that, let's pull up an Arvox. Any other questions while I'm finding this?
Yeah, someone's asked how you were doing your crossfades.
How am I doing them?
Like what the keyboard shortcut was for your crossfades.
Wow, isn't that strange?
It's yeah.
F.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird? I don't think about it until I'm asked.
Yeah. Like what is it? I just kind of move my hand in this way.
Yeah.
And then it does it.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost 'cause I can't create a fake him. Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost 'cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than missing his description. Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him.
Bring these down ever so slightly. There's a little bit of low mid build up because she's getting close to the mic.
Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost 'cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than missing his description.
Pretty awesome though. I mean, I'm assuming now the enunciation stuff is gone. Everybody can understand what she's saying. Now, it might be that certain words, if you're not a native English speaker, might feel a little strange because, in a sort of a bluesy way, words get sort of twisted and, especially if you're Northern European, you're used to hearing consonants. Anything Germanic, Scandinavian, British, Dutch, German, we tend to be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we like our consonants. But, American English and the way she's singing definitely has a love, yeah, which I love, to be honest. So I'd be intrigued. I would have thought, if you're a native English speaker, it probably makes sense. But yeah, see what anybody says.
Someone says, how much do you think about the changes in dynamic between the verse and chorus at this stage?
A lot, but if you were watching yesterday, you'll notice that's what we were talking about the whole time we were tracking. Yeah. So again, you may have missed yesterday's video. And while we go, I'm going to do our infomercial. Infomercial time. We need some music. Bing. QR code in the bottom left-hand corner. You have between now and Wednesday to sign up. So sign up now. Basically, it's BIM Pro. It's a combination of everything that we do on Produce Like a Pro, blended with a university level course. And as we talked about before, BIM are really the leaders, and they're the one university I wanted to work with, specifically because their modern production program is second to none. So you get a combo platter of everything that you love about online education mixed in with a university level course. All right. Hence the Pro Cert.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
See, now I'm listening to it as a whole. I'm not digging this going in here. Let's have a listen.
Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing.
That might have solved it for me. It may well have solved it.
That's all right.
Are you not hearing me?
Just when you're quiet.
Yeah, well, I was probably mumbling. It's my mumble rap section. You know, it's my other career. Mumble rap.
Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture. Why?
Great. I'm really super, super happy.
Why? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking, where's that coming from? And I realised we did it on a separate track. Okay, so let's go to the pre-chorus. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I'm sure I'll do some more tweaks to that, but for the time being, that is our first verse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up the RVox, but I'll turn it off for a second. Okay, let's go to playlist mode. Let's do new pre-chorus 1 comp. I usually do this in capitals just so it's easy to see, in case you're wondering. Alrighty. My notes on this, I remember the first one she did, I remember thinking, wow, this is great. So I'm not anticipating this to be difficult. So if we're going to do tonight, we're going to do this first pre-chorus into the first chorus. You've seen the editing. We haven't done any tuning, zero tuning. I am going to leave that to the last possible moment if something is really bothering us. And I am happy to listen to. If you want to, Josh is sitting there manning the comments. If you think anything I've done here and you're just like, I can't deal with that note being out of tune, just say. I'm interested in the tolerances. I do know that, you know, growing up as a music fan, there are certain songs I listen to now and I'm like, I didn't ever think that was out of tune, and I still don't really think it's out of tune. But sandwiched between two modern pop songs, it can be pretty crazy. It's interesting because when you think about like mid-90s, just before Antares came out, because it came out in like, I think about 99, 2000 as a rack mount. So it's actually quite a long time ago. I know because I was producing an artist in like 2001 and we had a 19-inch rack-mounted Antares auto-tune unit. And he was kind of a rap rocker. And so a lot of his stuff was like, I don't want what I want. It was like, you know, like Anthony Kiedis, like 4-note melodies. And it became painful at times because he was like doing a really fast rap like this, and he'd come in and just wouldn't hit the first 2 or 3 notes because he was moving from one to another. So, of course, we did sections upon sections. But we ended up just programming in the melody into the Antares unit. And, you know, we'd print it without the Antares on, or we would listen to it on. It really depended, you know, on what we were trying to build.
Something that I used to do, which has changed a bit recently now, is I'd speak to the artist beforehand and ask them what radio station they think their track should be on.
Oh, interesting.
I'll go, if you're on Radio 6 or Radio 1, that can tell me a lot about how much editing and tuning I should do. Because if it's 6, it's kind of, you know, a bit more organic.
I've never listened to 6. What's on 6?
Radio 6 in the UK, BBC Radio 6, is kind of a place for new music. It's quite alternative. It's quite edgy. Kind of like a XFM in London used to be, kind of a bit rockier. Usually.
What is that? I haven't found it on the dial in the car.
It's a DAB station. Really good. Really good.
DAB?
Digital.
Oh, it's a digital station. It's not going to be on FM.
No, you won't get it in the car.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
There's probably no room left. Yeah.
I guess it's similar to KEXP in Seattle. It's a similar kind of vibe, quite alternative.
Okay.
Whereas Radio 1, obviously, if your track's going to be on Radio 1, it's going to be competing against, you know, pop artists. So it needs to be in tune and in time. Well,
Marv just texted me. Marv just signed up to BIM Pro. Thank you, Marv. You rock. You absolutely rock.
But now I use Spotify playlists because people don't really know the radio anymore. So I go, are you on New Music Friday or Hot Hits or...
Well, here, I think that's really good. So the one I've used for years is if you could go on the road with any band, Any artist, alive or dead, who would you open for?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because then you get like you find out a bit more about them because what might happen. Here's a really good example. So yesterday we had a wonderful time working with Sophie. She came out and I said to her, I said, what was it like? Did you enjoy it? And she goes, this is the most amount of detail. And what did she say? It was the easiest vocal session she'd ever done. And it was just because we were giving her good direction and letting her do her thing and then just kind of guiding her here and there. And I suppose we're just doing the job that we're teaching you here. Please watch yesterday's one if you haven't already so you get an idea of what we're talking about. But I think that sort of indicates a lot of what's happening. So what I mean by that is artists will come into me on like their second or third record, whether it be independent or major, either, and they come in and I ask that question, how do you see yourself, because I'm trying to find out about not just their vocals but the music, how do they want them, what's their direction? And if they say to me, I'd like to see myself opening for Demi Lovato or I don't know, Dua Lipa, then that's a completely different answer to like, I wish I could have opened for Fleetwood Mac. And so just keeping a girl vocalist at the moment. Now, what that tells me is that tells me more about the producers they've worked with than them. Because what it means is that they've gone into a room, they've worked with somebody who has a certain skill set, and their skill set is knowing their technical. And what I would love for you all to do is get really good at your technical stuff so you know when and if to use it. So yeah, get really heavily into editing and comping. Take the life out of a vocal and a drum kit for a change. Go absolutely nuts so you know how far you can go, and then do the opposite, and then sit there and comp it and spend like 3 hours comping a verse, taking all the best moments and get into the vocal and learn all of those things. What happens with a lot of artists is they go and work with people who only know the first of those two options, the technical. And it tells me when I ask them that question and they say, I want to open for Fleetwood Mac, is that they see themselves as a lot more organic an artist than the producers with their limited skill set, or their only one skill set. Limited is cruel, but I mean just their one skill set which is only around the technical. Because the technical can be done using tools that have parameters that you see. Meaning, what key is this song in? People ask me all the time. Or the best question I always get is, how do you tune vocals? And do you know what I always say? I say, find something that bothers you and then put it in tune.
Yeah.
As opposed to, because what they really want to know is like, what is the way to tune a vocal? And I'm sure many of you might be asking the same question, which is completely understandable. What they want is they want to know, how do I find out the key center? I say, it's in E. So, okay, cool, in E, put that, so now I can snap all of my vocals in tune to E where the lines are drawn. This one's close to E, so it must be the E note. Boom, clink, do that. So the problem with that is that it's fine to do that. It's fine to do that, especially genre-wise and certain effects and all this stuff. But you can take out all of the personality out of the vocalist because our ears don't get bothered with, like she's doing, bending up to the note. If we take that out and just go da 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 as opposed to da da, you don't hear that as being out of tune because it's just bending the note towards it. You hear that as phrasing. I don't think anybody's ever said Freddie Mercury couldn't sing in tune. But if you put him on a grid, you probably see him doing all kinds of stuff, and wide vibrato and narrow vibrato and everything in between. But I've never heard anybody go, I really wish I could have retuned Bohemian Rhapsody. It's just not going to happen. So it's something for us to think about, in our vocal production, is like, get to know all of those things. Really do understand how to make a vocal absolutely perfect. Go nuts. Take a vocal and make it into I'm not going to say bad, just make it really in time and really in tune. And then do a vocal, or other way around, that you spend a long time getting the tuning and the timing right from what you have there. And then do a comparison shop. What do you prefer the sound of? You might go 90% of my hard, painstaking, sweat off the brow vocal is better. But there's 3 or 4 moments where I tune something quite aggressively that sound better and then drop them in. That's probably what's going to happen. You're probably going to go like, I like this bit from here, but I like the majority of that. So back to what Josh was saying and what I started off by saying, you learn a lot about an artist, not just about what they want, but also about who they've worked with. Because if you ask that question and they do come up with something far more organic, it probably means they're working with people with a limited, they've got a skill set, but their skill set is built around the technology. And I've said this thousands of times on podcasts and in interviews, that we've always been driven in the music industry by the technology, whether it be recording on 1-track, 2-track, Ampex 3-track, the birth of 4-track, the birth of 8-track, the birth of 16, 24, 48, digital, unlimited, tuning, digital synthesizers, analog synth. The point is, whenever something comes out, we embrace it and use it immediately, and then we tend to find its place. But initially, there's always that overuse of something. And I think the great thing about where we're at now is anything can be done. I can extract a lead vocal from any song now. I can find out what the guitar part is if I want to learn it and just pull that single guitar part out of any song and then sit there and learn it. It is insane what we can do. So now that we know we can do anything, our skill is, okay, where do we get our human skills from with the machine stuff that we know we can do? And that is where you will win. You'll beat anybody with that skill set. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Name that movie.
Nope, can't do it.
Anybody? Trust me, I'm a doctor. I'll give you a clue. No one. Yeah, I will. Daniel Day-Lewis. That's your clue. What's the movie? All right, pre-chorus. Is everybody confused now?
I'm waiting for a response.
They're all like, what? What was he going on about? Nope.
No.
You just guessed any rough Daniel Day-Lewis movie. Wow, that's the first take. It's just so good. Talk about coming up to the note. It's beautiful. That little yodel. Oh. Now, if you watch yesterday's video, which I please hope you do, if you haven't already, go back and watch yesterday's. You should have had an email because the only people on here are webinar approved people. What I mean by that is that you had to sign up to get this. We didn't do this on YouTube streaming to 700,000 people. We made this very private. So your link is private. Nobody else is going to see that video. It's only for you. If you go to that video, and for those of you that know what I'm going to talk about, what I did is she does this big note here. Listen. She hits it hard. The compressor went 10 dB of compression. She's going 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Boom, 10. She's belting it. The distressor was like, whoa. So what we did is I reached over and I brought the gain down on that. But not only did I bring the gain down on that, I actually then gained up after it. Because if you listen to that, yes, that one's smashing the compressor and you hear it toke like that. But then you also hear the last 2 lines, because she's belted, not be strong enough. Have a listen. So if I go to the very last take that we did, you'll see that I reduced the gain on the mic pre, so it hit the compressor less hard, and then brought up the last 2 lines. Listen to this. Here's the first take. And here's the last one. So the technique that you've learned earlier on this vocal, where I've been gaining phrases that are maybe, she's sort of swallowing a little bit, I did that with the gain control. It's almost impossible in the middle of a vocal to try and get a phrase like that. I've done all kinds of crazy stuff over the years, where I've got lines that I know the singer just is going to be like this, I'm barely going to hit it, and they be like that. And so, yeah, I've done all kinds of stuff. That's why you have lyric sheets. you have lyric sheets, you mark these kinds of things. When you know the singer's going to go quiet, you can hit sometimes as much as 10 dB worth of an additional gain. You know they're going to get loud. You might go as much as 9 or 10 dB down. But in this instance, I'm doing those last two lines and that third line. I'm coming down on the third line, and then the last two portions of it, I am then cranking back up over where we initially were. So every one of these takes is superb. If you were here yesterday, you'll remember she just nailed this. If that's all we had, I'd be using it. Yeah, so I immediately did it. That was the second take. I prefer everything on the first two lines of the original. I don't know if we're ever going to beat that. If we are, it'll be miraculous, because there's a yodel on the second half of the line. The ease and the bend in the first line is stupendous. I do like this last two lines on here. I think she was like, that's the first time she'd ever heard like that gain thing come in, and she was like, really responded well to it. Let's have a listen to the original take here. The pitch is really good on this, so I'll put that up as well, which is off of the same take, obviously. And I'll put this up. Now, it doesn't mean this isn't going to be beaten, but that's what we're doing. It's great. It's great too. She got the yodel on this line as well here. And here. Oh, that's flawless. The first take is flawless. It's very tempting to just take this last two lines on the first take and just gain it up and then gain the beginning of this, and we might just have it. Comp again. I don't think I'm going to regret this. I think what I'm going to do is do this. So gain the second half of this. Now listen. I mean, I feel like I have no problem with listening to the last two or three takes, but that is superb. That is superb as well. So that is 06. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 06 as a probable, possible, both of those words apply, as a probable, possible double if we choose to double the pre-chorus. What is interesting, of course, is she doesn't have a doesn't have a pre-chorus written down because it's just Y-I, Y-I, Y-I-I. So I'm just going to add it to the lyric sheet. Some of you may have noticed that when you downloaded it. The Y-I pre-chorus, and I'm going to write 06, put 2 stars, 4 double. So if we decide when we're doing a mix that we want to double that, that will work. I'm moving on. It's just for the interest of time, but that is absolutely superb. I mean, we can listen to those last 3. They will be superb as well. But I want in the next 25 minutes to comp a chorus, because that would be really, really important. So how's everybody feeling so far? You think we're getting this?
Yeah. Someone said, and there's the goosebumps on that last bit.
I know, she's so good, isn't she?
She is absolutely amazing.
So I'm going to drag the... Oh, I already did. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to listen to the first verse and the first chorus... the first pre-chorus with the Arvox on it.
Someone asked if you're satisfied with an early take. Do you still go and take time and go through every single
I do.
one?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I will. I mean, that was pretty magical, and we did a little compage between 2 takes. There was just something really super magical. But yeah, I mean, there are times... This is a gated community. Okay, so I did this song called "She Says" by Howie Day, and I love you, Howie. But he showed up at I think like 10 p.m. on the vocal day.
Nice.
I got there about 10 a.m.
Yeah.
It was already a little worse for wear, should we say?
Yeah.
I think I got maybe 2.5 takes. I used to say 1.5, and I'm trying to remember. I think I might have had a scratch vocal on there. I might have gotten to throw one out. And then him and the producer, because I was engineering it, or actually I got co-production on it, so I co-produced it, I should say. I still say producer loosely. Went out and partied till, I think there was partied the whole night.
Yeah.
And I got back in at 10 a.m. and I think by 4, I had been like building the track, flying things around. Youth had done the original string arrangement, and Youth is a genius, as we all know, as a producer. Absolutely amazing. So we'd recut the drums, the bass. I'd replayed the guitars. I think I kept the original string arrangement. Everything else we recut. I think I did the acoustics, some electrics, and David Levita. I think it was you, David, that played on it. Wasn't it, David? Amazing guitar player. Played and did some overdubs as well. Anyway, bass player was Chris. Why am I blanking your name, Chris? We all know who it is. Plays with Jane's Addiction. Sorry, Chris. I'm blanking. Anyway, anybody remember Chris? Wonderful, wonderful bass player. Played with everybody. I think he's in Jane's Addiction at the moment. Yeah, he's definitely in Jane's Addiction. And so Chris played bass, and so I did some editing, did some comping on his bass line, took in a couple of fills that he'd done and moved them around. So by 4 o'clock, the track is sounding amazing. And I'm like, the singer is not coming in. Or if they're coming in, it's going to be after a full night of total chaos and whatever. So I comped the vocal from the 1 full scratch take and then the 1.5 additional parts that I did. And I had to fly choruses around. I did have full chorus takes, so I did have like two choruses, and so I comped that, and then I would take like words from this chorus and put them in that one and words from that one to try and get the best moments and make them all feel different, because the song kind of grew exponentially, not as much as the original version, the album version. It didn't have a chorus till the very end, so we'd rearranged the whole thing, and it was a lot of work, and so but I think it still was like number 13 in the charts. It was still a big hit. It did really, really well. I think it was number 1 or number 2 on the Hot AC charts in America. I'm sure you guys will remember. It was after that song Collide, which was a number 1 hit. And anyway, to cut a long story short, I worked with what I had. Yeah. And I think that's really what you should always do, is like when you think you've got something, you go options, work on what you have, see what's going on, And I think most of the beauty in this, because that was like 7 takes there, and I do remember like by take 3 we were like, you've got this, and we don't want to over sing, because we sang the pre-choruses. If you watch yesterday's video, once again, we sang the pre-choruses at the end, or not the end, because we didn't want to burn her out, because this is the most aggressive part. That was where she was really belting. So we did all the verses before we even got to the pre-choruses, which I think was pretty smart. Okay. So yeah, work with what you had. Long answer.
Chris Cheney, by the way.
Chris Cheney, thank you. Sorry, Chris. I even played a show with him. I played guitar with him at the Viper Room years ago.
Someone asked, is it customary for the recording engineer to do the vocal comp so the mixer can just use them like you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting dynamic. I've always been, probably like Josh and all of you watching, I've always been a producer, engineer, mixer, guitar player, bad keyboard player, co-writer, arranger. I've always done all of those, worn all those hats. Sometimes I've even played drums, which is a scary prospect when I'm playing drums. But I've done all those things, so I can adapt to any situation. I have found it when I first started working independent. I came up as the all-in-one guy, and then my bigger records, I started getting hired outside of that, because big producers would come into my studio, hire me to engineer, and then realize, oh wow, this guy can take the workload off of me. He can do half the jobs that I do or don't want to do, and all this stuff. And I did find it a little unusual at first that they would just disappear when it came to vocal comping. And I suppose that's flattering that they trust me to comp a Frey album's vocals or something like that. It's great. When I listen to these big records, I'm like, that's great that I did that. And sometimes they would be sitting there and sometimes they wouldn't, or whatever it is. But whatever it was, James Blunt, when I did James, I comped that vocal, I think, on my own. Yeah, I comped the vocal on my own. And I was a co-producer as well, so don't get me wrong. But I think that it is strange for everyone here. It's all what we do every day. We're the producer, engineer, mixer, multi-instrumentalist, blah, blah, blah. But when you're on these huge records, it is a little strange. You think to yourself, well, you're getting, $70,000 for your name to come in for 6 weeks, but you're not actually here on these vital decision-making things. Now, again, it's good for the ego because they trust you.
Comping feels like a production.
It is a production thing, yeah. He just succinctly said everything I said.
Yeah, if you're comping it, then you're deciding what the overall finished quality of the vocal is. Yeah, really, that's quite an important thing to do. So I would say an engineer might comp a vocal with a producer's assistance, or the producer would comp the vocal. As a mixer, I wouldn't want to receive necessarily a whole bunch of takes as a mixer.
No, not at all.
I thought there was one specific moment, and then I might email going, "Oh, can you send me a different take of this one bit or something?" Yeah. Exactly. So Brian said, is this process done when recording, or is that up to mixer? Yeah.
No. Definitely the recording. Yeah,
definitely do it in the recording process.
Yeah. But if you join, so the first part of the of our Pro Cert is just vocals, all about vocals, because no matter what genre you're all doing, whether you're doing like hyper pop or doing a vocal acoustic or anything in between, all the extremes, whether you're doing death metal, you need to know how to record and mix and comp great vocals. So this is universal. Then we're going to get into drums, we're going to get into full instrument recording and everything, whether it be a quartet all the way through to, again, death metal, synths, programming. We've got some other mentors coming in to do some of the programming stuff with us as well. It's a full thing, and then mixing, and then of course mastering, and then assessment at the end. And there's 5 modules. That's correct, isn't it? 5 modules, and this is just one of the modules. So 8 weeks times 5, it's a 40-week course. It's a good year of your life, but you will come out, you'll have a proper certificate that done at a university level. So it's not just going, oh, I paid blah blah blah, loads and loads of money, and I now can tell people I did the course. They're all going to be like, who cares? This is a proper university level course. All right. So join us. Can you go back and do the QR code? And thanks, Marv, for joining. Anybody else, if you know me, text me if you've joined. There's the QR code. All right. Here is the chorus. Now, my nomenclature got messed up here because I'm an idiot. I just added chorus to it And of course, because I did verse 2 last line, and I basically do that thing in Pro Tools. You probably do it in all of your things where you just duplicate it because you want to keep all the inputs and the outputs and the verb send and all that stuff. And I didn't change the nomenclature properly. So it says lead vocal, verse 2, last line, chorus. So you'll have to excuse my lack of proper, and it's important to me that everything is named properly, because otherwise it can be very confusing when you come back to a session like a year later and you're like, I don't understand what I did. Okay, let's create a new, so we're going to call this chorus comp. Again, comp in capital letters. I'm going to be even more pedantic. Chorus 1. Okay. Now, my notes on this, because at this point she was singing like an angel, I went, all good. But I did put a star against 06 and 07. So I suppose what we could do for Snitch and Sniggles is go straight to 06 and 07. But I think I want to take a little lav break. Where is the nearest lav?
It is straight upstairs.
Straight upstairs. So I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of His Royal Highness, Sir Joshua.
Yeah, I'll just give you
Harrison.
I'll give everyone a bit of a backstory about me and where I come from and who I am and stuff for a little bit then.
Marvellous. And answer any questions that might come up.
Oh, I do have a me cam, which is a webcam. But anyway, yeah, I thought I'd introduce myself. I am definitely not royalty. Yeah, let's just clear that up straight away. Although I do have the English accent, I'm in no way related to the Queen or anything like that. But in terms of BIMM, I have an interesting connection to BIMM because I'm actually a lecturer at BIMM University, based in Brighton, in the UK, which is on the south coast. And not only do I now teach as a lecturer at BIMM, I'm also an ex-BIMM student. I graduated from BIMM in Brighton in 2015, and then I got a job as an assistant in a recording studio, kind of the classic pathway, you know, making cups of tea and all that kind of stuff. I was very fortunate. It was actually my teacher who got me that position, first of all. He liked me because I wasn't afraid to kick his chair once when I thought he'd fallen asleep, and he liked that in me. He was a much older guy and liked the kind of, you know, young energy in the room. And he liked how I could kind of liaise with the artists as well quite a lot. Then, yeah, that was Brighton Electric Studios. So in Brighton Electric Studios, they've got two rooms, Studio 1 and Studio 2. Studio 1 has a big Neve desk, and Studio 2 has an API 1608. So I kind of cut my teeth there, learning on both those two consoles. And yeah, did lots of recording sessions and engineering sessions with bands like The Cure. Did lots of engineering for their big rehearsals they would do before their festival runs. But every single rehearsal often turned to a writing session, was all recorded in a pro studio, as you can probably imagine. And then I did a bunch of demoing engineering sessions with Royal Blood. So they came into the studio after their first album, and then they liked me. We had a good chemistry. I then continued to kind of still be their kind of main engineer for all their writing sessions. And then those writing sessions, again, as you can probably imagine, often turned into full-blown recording sessions. And one of my favourite sessions I ever did was with a band called British Sea Power, who have just changed their name actually to Sea Power. But they were a great band to work with because the drummer put every bit of attention and detail into tuning every single drum for every single song. So we would spend about, in one 10-hour day, we would record 3 tracks of drums because we were tuning everything individually. And that whole album session was 26 days in the end, which was, you know, not the longest of album sessions. You know, I'm sure Warren's probably done some crazy long ones with Aerosmith or you know, some of these massive bands like The Fray. But for me, 26 days, that was a pretty interesting experience. Now, I mix my time between teaching at BIMM. I teach a vocal production module on the university course for music production. And and I'm not teaching. Yeah, I'm producing bands and all that kind of stuff. So if anyone's got any questions for me or BIM or the studio or whatever, send them through in the chat, and I can answer them. This is also my kind of first foray into, shall we say, YouTube world. I've never done anything like this before. I've never done a live stream before. I'm usually okay in the room with people, talking to, real people in the room, but talking to people all over the world on this crazy live stream, then it's new for me. But I'm glad it's all working out. So yeah, I do teach at BIM exclusively, but I also do some online teaching for BIM Berlin as well. Thanks, Ed. We'll see about that. I hope to do well, and I hope the same for all of you, obviously. Yeah. BIM Berlin, yeah. So I did some mobile teaching for a student in BIM Berlin where I talk specifically about synthesis and stuff. At what point in the studio recording process do you start making legitimate money? It depends what you call legitimate money, but my advice for anyone starting out in the studio recording game is to kind of build a portfolio, go out into the world, meet bands, interact with people, make some friends, make some contacts, and then either do some kind of home DIY recording, book out a studio and go do the drums there.
And join BIM Pro.
Join BIM Pro, obviously. You need to know what you're doing before you kind of do it. You don't want to mess up on your first client, do you? You want to make sure that when you go into that room with the artist, that you're not going to, ruin it. So knowing what you're doing is super important. And obviously at BIM, with BIM Pro, we are all about teaching you that kind of stuff. But then once you're confident enough and you've got a few clients under your belt, and then when someone approaches you and says, would you like to engineer our next single? Well, that's the point you can start thinking about what you charge. And an open conversation is always good, I think. Just say, what's the kind of budget? And then you can give an answer based on that. But I hope that was useful. Warren's now back from the lav.
I'm not wearing a lav, but I went to one. Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for people that have been reposting stuff. I just reposted on Instagram stories a screenshot of the webinar. Thank you. If anybody else wants to do that, just tag. You can tag three things. You can do at Warren Hewitt, you can do at Produce Like a Pro, and you can do at Bimstagram. Yes, they're very funny, aren't they? Bimstagram. Yeah. Doo-doo, ching. So you can do all three of those, one of them, two of them, you name it. I will definitely repost your story in the story. Wonderful. Love the support. It's really good. Social media.
You could tag me if you wanted as well.
Oh, yeah, you can do
I have Instagram as well. I'm JJ Hoagie, Hoagie, which is a kind of funny story. It's a studio nickname, actually.
Is it because of what you ate?
Yeah.
Hoagies.
Exactly. Yeah, got paid basically nothing, and they gave me free lunch, and free lunch was always a sandwich. So
I want to go to that Italian. Can I buy you dinner after this?
Yeah, totally.
Good. We'll go. We're going to talk business schmizness and eat dinner at There's an Italian on the corner. It's literally 5 yards, 6 meters, 4 meters. I can't remember the differential. Anyway, let's do a chorus, everybody. So 6 and 7 was marked with double stars as being brilliant. Why don't we just go straight to 6 and 7 and see why we thought it was brilliant? Which the last two takes. Oh, I remember why, because she was nailing this, and then the last couple of takes and go back and watch yesterday's video, we said, why don't you just, have some fun with it? Now you've got the timing and you've got the tuning and everything's great. Just see what personality stuff you can bring in. So again, if you weren't on yesterday, I talked about the magpie. It's an analogy I've used for decades. And basically the magpie builds a nest, a beautiful, amazing nest to raise its young in, but it loves shiny things. They'll fly around and they'll see, oh look, there's a bottle cap down there. So you get this beautiful nest with like a bright, sparkly bottle top and a piece of green, sparkly glass and a chewing gum wrapper. And so that's a good vocal to me. A good vocal should have, a great performance. It should be in time. It should be in tune where necessary and the way it's supposed to be, with little moments of like, oh, Wow, I love the way the vocal broke there. I love the hey, like she did a second ago. That hey, I want to hear lots of that. That's the stuff. And she did a lot of that on these 2 takes, or at least enough. Let's have a listen. 6 and 7.
If nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in my strength to stop him doing this and that. Some girls like bad moments, moods are making this life boring without him, and used to playing games and chasing this and that. Some girls like bad. If you wanted me, then you should have just said.
There's like so much brilliance in that. I mean, that's a record already. Listen to it again. What a great take.
If nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in my strength to stop him doing this and that. Some girls like bad moments, moods are making this life boring without him, and used to playing games and chasing this and that. Some girls like bad. If you wanted me.
So, I'll tell you what I do and don't like. First of all, the intro is great. She nailed the timing.
If nothing's changing, can't erase him.
It just works so well. The hymn might be better on another take, but love that. So keep listening.
For myself,
That's just, oh, that's so good. I know you're probably all saying, oh, the enunciation. I love it.
for myself.
That's just like, you know, when you hear a singer and you instantly know their voice because of some inflection they have, you know. Sometimes with James, when I did a single with him, James is just like, yeah, James Blunt. He has this tendency to just do this over vibrato. But that's kind of his voice. And when I was asking to pull back of the vibrato the first time I ever worked with him, he's like, yeah, I've never heard that before. Like, okay, I get it. So, again, though, absolutely superb. That personality there is stellar.
For myself, I'm complacent in my strength to stop him doing this and that. Some girls like bad moments, moods are making this life boring without him, and used to playing games and chasing this and that. Some girls like bad. If you
Yowza, I'm listening again.
If nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in my.
That I'm complacing might not be my favourite one, but it's still great.
I'm complacent in my.
The place sing actually is not bad, so I'm actually going to just do the opposite to what you think I would do. I'm just taking that bit out, and I'm going to. Oops.
Things changing, can't erase him from myself.
Okay, let's go to 7.
If nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent. I'm complacent.
6.
I'm complacent.
Very different delivery.
I'm complacent.
7.
I'm complacent. I'm complacent. I'm complacent.
She really was going for that kick.
I'm complacent. I'm complacent. I'm complacent.
That's really behind.
I'm complacent. I'm complacent.
On.
I'm complacent. I'm complacent in my.
I like that.
Complacent. Complacent. Complacent.
And then here.
I'm complacent.
I'm wondering if I can get away with doing this. Okay, here's a comp quickly. So what I did is I took one little piece of 7, a little piece of 2, and the rest of it is 6 so far.
If nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in my. If nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in. I'm complacent.
Back to 6.
I'm complacent. I'm complacent in my strength. I'm complacent.
7.
I'm complacent. I'm complacent.
That's 6.
I'm complacent in my strength.
I might be high. That might be the best one.
I'm complacent in my strength.
It's like I feel like I want it to be more back than it is, you know, just a little bit more in the pocket. But the ones that are too far back I don't like. So this is one of the most on top, if you like. Only slightly, but
I'm complacent in my strength.
here's 5.
I'm complacent in my strength.
Maybe it's just doing this on 5 and this, which I didn't like before, because I'm just a crazy man here. See how I am? Never be afraid to be wrong, especially when it comes to comping. Okay, listening.
If nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in
Nah, it's 2 on. I'm complacent. It's 2 on. Okay. I was right.
myself. I'm complacent in my.
Yep, I'm going to put 7 back in. It might be the entrance from the note before. So, here's something I learned a million years ago. Now, when I was editing a vocal, 4 billion years ago, I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, it was with Mike Klink. You all know Mike Klink? Mike, he did User Illusion 1 and 2 and Appetite for Destruction. Big producer in the 80s. Did tons and tons of rock in the 80s, but of course did those 3 enormous Guns N' Roses records. And he would have me move things backwards, forwards, back, like 4 samples here, 4 samples there, do this kind of stuff. Yeah. And this is like 1999 or something like that, 2000, long time ago. Jesus, it doesn't seem that long ago, but now as I explain it and realise it's 25 years ago. So Mike was really big on getting the vocal to sound to feel good. And what would happen is you think that something's late or you think that something's early, and you may well be right, but often in a vocal, it's because the note before, especially in drums, the beat before, the voice before being early or late makes the other one feel the opposite. So if I'm slightly late on the snare drum before, on the phrase before, the next one, if it's on, is going to feel early. So I'm messing around here. In context, 7 feels really good, and I can't understand why it doesn't work. And it might just be that this phrase here is the one immediately before it is slightly out. So let's have a listen.
If nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in my.
It just feels so on top when I hear it like that, and yet if I listen to it with 7,
Erase him from myself. I'm complacent in.
I'm going to take this line from 7 and see if that solves it. So I'm now using more of 7, the line before, to make sure that timing might make this line immediately afterwards feel better. It's a great experiment. Mess with the stuff on your own.
If nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in my strength to stop him doing.
It's better.
I'm complacent. I'm complacent in.
It's a part of me just wants to move that kick slightly.
I'm complacent in my strength. For myself, I'm complacent in. For myself, I'm complacent in. For myself, I'm complacent.
So, what's beautiful about what she's doing is she's got a groove and she's keeping it consistent, and he is pushing on the kick. Now, I don't recommend that anybody ever do what I'm about to do, but if I bring down the kick and use it as a point of reference. So you see how on top he feels like he is compared with her. He's like pushing pretty dramatically on these 2 notes.
I'm complacent.
And she's really, really behind. So this bluey one here, which is take 01, just felt more natural to me. But it may not work in context with the line before. So let's have a listen. But that's what we're fighting against. We're fighting against something which is that Jay Dilla groove, that Questlove groove. Questlove's a huge Jay Dilla fan, where it's pushing and pulling beats. And I don't want to change that. I don't want this to be locked in and perfect and not feel like this really cool groove that she's got going. And that the band is playing because these are live drums. But I also don't want it to feel like she's singing out of time.
Nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in my strength to.
That was it. So I took the one that's slightly more on top, but still behind the kick, and now we're winning. Okay, so let's keep listening to that comp.
Nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in my strength to stop him doing this. And there's some girls like bad moments, mood to making this life boring without him, and used to playing games and chasing this. And there's some girls like bad. If you wanted me, then you should.
So if that was all we had and that was it, I'd be going, what a brilliant take, because it is a brilliant take. Now, there's moments here where it gets a little in the mouth, a little. Have a listen.
This life boring without him, and used to playing games and chasing. Like bad moments, mood to make it.
It's still so good, but I'm going to go back to this first take and see how. She has a little bit more enunciation, see whether we prefer it.
And there's some girls like bad moments, smooth to make it.
So this bit.
Smooth to make it. Smooth to make it. Smooth to make it. Smooth to make it.
Is that laid backy thing here?
Making.
Where she lays back that making.
Making. This. Making. This.
As opposed to this.
Making this, making this.
But that has a kind of push to it. But let's just feel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in that laid back making. Let's just see if it improves it or not.
Girls like bad moments, mood to making this life boy.
It's kind of nice.
And there's some girls like bad moments, mood to making this life boring without him, and used to playing games and chasing this. And there's some girls like bad. If you wanted me, then you should have just said.
So good. You know what it's also got? Just all this time I'm talking about Questlove and talking about Jay Dilla. It's D'Angelo. It's so D'Angelo. Why wasn't I? That should have hit me on the head how D'Angelo this track is. Yeah. Classic D'Angelo. First album D'Angelo. I wasn't even thinking about that. Everybody's probably like going, duh, Warren, we've been thinking that. Yeah, it's so D'Angelo. That first album, I went to his platinum party on the first album. I think that was anyone remember? 97, 98? 98? 99? Something like that. And it was absolutely amazing. Unbelievable. And it was like when he was like super svelte and like muscular, and like every girl was like, oh, I love you. And I remember he did a Stevie Wonder medley on keys, because he's a phenomenal keyboard player, and it just brought you to tears. I was like the only guy I've ever heard do Stevie Wonder. Nobody's Stevie Wonder, don't get me wrong, but the only person I ever heard that got that close that you were just like, wow. It was like out of body good. It was so good. There is somewhere some video footage of that party, and you hear him do the Stevie Wonder medley, and you're just like, ugh, so good. I want to say Questlove was the drummer. I don't remember who was. For some reason, it makes me think it was. All right, I'm going to listen to the pre-chorus going into the chorus. Actually, and I'm going to do even more than that. I'm going to listen to everything we have done thus far. And I'm also going to make a note that if we wanted to use 7 for a double, we can. Now, I could go a little bit more anal on this chorus, but we do have to sort of wrap up shortly. But we have done a lot of work. How is everybody feeling? Do you feel like you're learning? Do you have any burning desires, any questions? Anything coming up, like stuff that we've done? You've got some questions about it?
Someone said, after comping, do you do global frequency slotting?
Global frequency slotting.
I guess that means, EQing.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to mixing tomorrow. We're going to get to the vocal mixing tomorrow. We're not going to touch the tracks. We're going to pretend the tracks are done the way they're supposed to be, because we're going to have plenty in the course of mixing tracks. I want to spend the time on vocals. But yes, yes. After comping, we've done quite a lot of gain stuff, particularly on that verse, and we may do a little bit more of that in the mixing process. But generally speaking, we've got the basis of the song here. Let's give it a listen. Any other questions?
Everyone's just saying, always learning.
Oh, you guys.
Learning is earning.
Yeah, I did 3 albums with Dave Sardi, and it was intense because there were 12-hour days. We worked 12 till 12 every day, and 12 mean getting at 11, so 12 to 12 and leave at 1, and so these like 12, 14-hour days every day on records, and I was sitting in a back room 90% of the time with just hard drives of stuff that I had to edit. So if you want to know why I'm probably good at this, is because of stuff like that. I'd already been working with independent bands for like 5 or 6 years before that and making records, and had a couple of chart records and stuff that I'd worked on. But this was a big deal for me because even though I was producing and getting paid as a producer, even just go back and engineering and editing on albums like The Thrills, remember The Thrills, the Irish band, and Hot Hot Heat, that was a lot of work. And I would get in there and I would just, nothing was gridded. Everything was just like, it's got to feel like a performance, because we tracked all the basics on tape and then dumped them into Pro Tools. Nothing was cut to clicks. So he would give me like 17 takes, and they'd all be playlisted. Some were like this long, this long, this long, this long, this long, because they're all completely different tempos. And then he'd give me notes as to what he liked, and then I would put together the songs. It was insane. And with the Thrills album, all the drums, all the piano, bass, rhythm guitars, was all takes, no overdubs. And then we'd overdub lead guitar, maybe some additional keys, and vocals. And that was intense. So you were sort of responsible for a lot. This great wad of notes, and you had to sit there and listen to everything. Listen, edit. Yeah, it was crazy.
Andre asked if when you're editing, would you only comp, or do you sometimes you move the vocal around, don't you, just to make sure it fits perfectly?
Yeah, I mean, in a situation, especially on a pop track, where it isn't a Jay Dilla kind of drum part, and it's on, it's like, especially 4 on the 4, like a boom, if it's a 4 on the floor thing, you're probably going to be a lot more precise. But here we've got like a pop R&B, as we can tell, like a late 90s D'Angelo-y kind of thing. And there's a lot of latitude here to move things around. Yeah. But we're relying on what we did yesterday, on the vocal production that we did yesterday. Now, if you're handed something that makes absolutely no sense, you're probably going to do a lot of what you're talking about. Yeah. But we had the advantage of being able to work with the singer, with Sophie. All right, listening down.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him, become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him. Nothing's worse than missing his descriptions. Nothing's worse than falling for the wrong thing. Every last minute that I gave you, wasted just trying to paint that picture. Why, why? Even if nothing's changing, can't erase him from myself. I'm complacent in my strength to stop him doing this and that. Some girls like bad moments, moods are making this life boring without him, and used to playing games and chasing this and that. Some girls like bad. If you wanted me, then you should have just said.
Oh, so good.
So good.
She's great. Absolutely great. Working with that kind of level of talent is just wonderful. Well, look, again, join us at BIM Pro. It's what we're doing. It's Produce Like a Pro, me, and BIM University getting together to do something of a much higher level. As you can see, this kind of detail is what we are going to do over 8 weeks just on vocals. So join us over there. There is a QR code, which I can see in the corner of the screen there. So scan it, come over and join us. Any other last questions?
I've just put a link to a YouTube video in the chat that is a little bit of an insight into what's in the
Oh,
course.
Yeah.
It just kind of, it's Warren talking through kind of ins and outs of what's actually in there and how you'd experience it and what it consists of. So just a little bit more detail, basically. So check out that video that I just pasted in. Scroll up if you can't find it. And yeah, so tomorrow we're going to be getting on to mixing these vocals and taking them to the kind of their final place and making it all sound amazing. I imagine there'll be lots and lots of plugins.
There'll be lots of plugins, but don't be surprised if I still do some editing stuff, because I might say, oh, I love that phrase, but we need to, bring up this level here. So we might go in and edit and turn that up. I'm also noticing, and this is something about Arvox that I love and also can be one of its downfalls, is that it brings up a lot of low mids. And where we've gained up some of this stuff and crushing it with Arvox, sometimes it gets a little bit gobbled, So I'm probably going to do a little bit of additional EQing. I'll probably pull this Arvox. I always put it on early. I'll probably go in here. In fact, I'm just going to do it now as we talk about it, because Josh just brought up EQing. And I'm just going to do a little bit of high passing. And I'll probably go as much as 100. I can make that slope maybe just a little bit more gentle. About 100. And now let's listen to the vocal now, just because it came up.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him. Become the one who thinks that she can change him. Lost cause I can't create a fake him.
Take it off.
Now and then I try to make things different. Always find myself trying to fix him.
Back on.
Different. Always find myself trying to fix him.
Subtle, but a huge difference to me. And that's even on a pair of DT150s, which, by the way, I absolutely love. Beyerdynamic. God, they got it right. What are these, like 1970 something?
Yeah.
Something. Yeah, great headphones. Any other questions?
No. Everyone's just saying thanks.
Great. Well, we'll be doing these. We'll be doing these regularly because BIM Pro is a big deal, and we want this to be like the established norm and what people will be doing to get proper online education mixed in with a university level course. So stick around. Come back tomorrow. We'll do more. We'll do mixing, and we'll do more editing probably, just to make it better still. You'll see really how the process, because when you're turning in a comped vocal to a mixer, a really good one such as Mark Ender, will do a little bit of this editing that you've been seeing here as well as part of the process. So something's never really done until it's done. So thanks everyone for watching. Go and join us at BIM Pro. You'll see the link there on the QR code. And so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir. It's good night from me, and it's good night from him.
Yeah, good night. See you later. Bye.